down here in a fantastic country. We're here to launch the Polo Vivo to South Africa, South Africa's favorite car, #1 selling car in the country for the last 7 years. The Polo is certainly a winning formula for Volkswagen, and much of the Polo credentials have now been passed on to the Vivo. The car is locally built, 70% local content. It's absolutely solid. It's got all the safety credentials as well as all the luxury features. And from a range perspective, we start off with the Trendline, moving away all the way up to the GT, which caters both for the entry-level customer as well as for the enthusiasts looking for a sporty motor vehicle as well.
Volkswagen are the masters of recycling. They've taken this stack on a couple of cars in the past and it's always worked out very well. So yeah, I think Volkswagen's definitely onto a winner. They've managed to position essentially a B segment car at A segment prices. There's no way that could go wrong.
If I was going from a Vivo and I'm buying a new Vivo, I'm essentially getting a brand new car. And the new Polo will remain a new car. But the guy who's out there with the Polo right now thinks that there's just been a sticker put on. If the presentation did not point out the differences, to the normal eye, to the average Joe, they actually wouldn't have spotted them. But I think it's more about the upgrade being on the Polo Vivo than it is more than a downgrade from the Polo.
In terms of the engine strategy, what we're running the cars on is a 1.4 and a 1.6 MPI, both locally manufactured engines. They have been tried and tested in the South African economy. Those engines are very reliable. We've been for a number of years. Added to the range now is obviously the 1-litre TSI, which is in the range-topping Polo Vivo GT. It's a 1-litre TSI pushing out 81 kilowatts, which allows us to create that sporting halo image at the top of the brand.
We were pleasantly surprised. We did drive a competitive vehicle last week, where we thought the engine was a little bit lacking, even though the vehicle was very, very pretty. This engine by comparison is very, very nice. We haven't had a chance to drive the smallest car in the stable, which we'll be doing today, but we drove the 1-litre GT yesterday and the 1600, and they are both very, very nice. I think the movement towards these really, really amazing 1-litre engines is going to start rolling out into other derivatives, but if you haven't driven one of those amazing 1-litre engines yet, I strongly recommend you go test drive one.
In a South African context, consumers are very concerned both with regards to safety and security. From a security aspect, firstly, we've standardized the ultrasonic alarm within the entry-level car, so if somebody does break into your car, any movement in the car, it will set off the alarm. Safety perspective, we've now standardized ISOFIX seats. Also looking at the other safety features, we've retained all the safety features of the previous generation Vivo, and we've also added ESC. Now ESC is a safety feature that if you end up in a treacherous situation while driving, it prevents your skidding and prevents you from losing control of the car. Also, you've got tyre pressure monitor warning you in the event there's a loss of pressure, telling you that you probably could have an issue with the tyre or could have a slow puncture. So all of those features put together certainly enhance the safety credentials of the Vivo.
I quite love the idea that the Golf, the Jetta and the Vivo now shares that steering, because it's actually quite a user-friendly steering. The radio, the R140, I found it took a while to get used to because it had about, I think, 8 buttons and 1 or 2 buttons. The screen was smaller, but the bigger screen in the GT, I found that more user-friendly, and one's just got to get used to pairing it easily so that you can make use of your Bluetooth. Sound system is perfectly fine, so I think essentially they've made it very user-friendly, and it feels more premium, especially in the GT.
Just on the entry-level car, we managed to keep all of that additional specification down to a price difference of just 600 Rand. If you get to the Comfort line price difference is about 3,000 Rand, and you're spending 3,000 Rand because you're getting that additional specification. If you go to the top of the range at 245,000 Rand, you can buy the GT. So you've got a TSI engine with the GT, 17-inch alloy wheels, sporting credentials of the car, and certainly a very good package for the sports enthusiast.
I think it's also got a lot to do with how much the car costs to run. Fuel economy wise, insurance wise, and I think that first time car buyers don't always take all those things into consideration. But at 179,000 for the entry level, it's priced well.
Looking at the entry level specifically, the outgoing concept line was only 600 Rands cheaper than the new entry level trend line. And for a car that's undoubtedly more sophisticated, more spacious, more everything than the old Vivo was, I think that's actually a bit of a bargain.